Hello, someone. Today we will speak about why suicidals don't differ. In the 1910s, a wave of suicides covered gymnasium students in Moscow and St. Petersburg. That was the time of teenage escapes in the political life of the Russian Empire after the recent rise of revolutionary movement. The youth could not cope up with a sense of doom and fatalism due a grim future provided by the reaction to this government. A century later, in the 2010s, a number of suicides happened among young Russians under the influence of some enormous group on the internet, Blue Whale, that called teenagers for living the senseless existence in a society of total corporation and consumerism. Nowadays, young marriages from the both ESL and the other radical Islam groups easily give up their lives, thought committing suicidal terrorist attacks against the servant of Satan in the face of citizens of the Western world. At the same time, dozens of thousands of opioid overdose tends become endemic in the United States. In all the above mentioned cases, the outcome is the same, while reasons seem to be significantly different. In other words, the ones who commit suicide could answer the question why, with different arguments. Nobody can agree the a Russian gymnasium student from the beginning of 20th century has nothing in common with Islamic suicide bomber from the beginning of the 21st century. Whatever variety of reasons is just illusion. A reason for my kind of suicide is always one of the same. Let's try to find and articulate such a reason together. Scandal the aircraft after the publication about the student suicide in one of the Russian quasi-liberal newspapers in 1911 was based on the idea that the human right to live the life voluntarily should be accepted as legal. It did not contradict the logic of society where the state made citizens secretive templars for state interests at any moment. However, the conservative majority of the Russian population insisted on banning all liberal media as if the latter was a cause of all social ills. Nobody needed to figure out the true reason for the suicides. In the 2010s, when the problem of suicide among Russian teenagers was discovered in the Russian State Duma, limited access to the internet for the entire population appeared the only viable solution, which departed of the State Duma could invent two solutions standing from each other in century-long period are too similar to be coincidence. Russia has not changed since then. Some might notice about it, but what about the other countries? Russia is not isolated from the rest of the world. In contrast to the Soviet Union, with in the iron customer, Western discourse takes suicide in a few different ways. News media always blames suicide bombers in legal framework. Bombers commit crimes, nothing extra needed to be discussed. They are just crazy, fantastic, fundamentalistic, radical, Islamic, and terrorists. They are Western society. The reason for their behavior are clear and taken for granted. Terrorists are the scared bugaboo for humanity today. They are stigmatized people evil. The question why is irrelevant to the evil. Another approach is available than euthanasia as the most extreme manifestation of healthcare is discovered. Suicide to be synthesized by the public and extended by medical professional. In such a case, it look more like a voluntary entitled capital punishment rather than spontaneous action of an individual who chooses nothingness. Nobody really care about was a suicide devices not to cast shadow any longer. Society cares about keeping up pensions. In such a case, it removes death from the question again. But doesn't society neglect life via neglecting death? Isn't is a vulgar liberal approach when life amount to comfort to be intolerant to death to pain. But since the death subject cannot be silenced completely, it is necessary to turn it into something non-threatening and in a scope, something easily describable in public. Modern culture to the rescue, providing soft cope. Publicity to suicide thought worsen horror movies such as, for instance, Bird Box, and Cal. No one supernatural ever pushes people to commit mass suicide in the movies, and if so, suicide takes the form and homicides, it does not look horrific on the screen because people live their lives on their own, while the reason for doing so is unexplainable. Once that death on the screen appears meaningless, the problem of suicides in detectivate. Western people uh, pursue such a sort of this similar to have they perceive their lives that are meaningless as well. The problem is either shifted to both discourse of war and peace or radical to the mass consumer psychoanalytic that never takes fundamental questions. Origin, skin color, education, weather, general social status, religion, political views, as well as other possible destructive characteristic cannot change the fact that everyone is a set of living cells working under the same algorithm that this will finally bring us to the same bunch of decent originating aimed at maintaining the energy balance of the planet. The truth is that we all are average, and only our ambitions makes us think otherwise. Um, Methods and a point made at achieving our goals go next in the hierarchy of students' suicide reasons and inability to achieve our function goals is a conversation methods and social acceptance attachment can be a final trigger for committing suicide. Okay, we will continue. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.